Well, okay then, we are heading into serious waters and talking ghost stories around the campfire. That can sound scary, but remember your training and stick inside your limits and you'll be fine. Things go wrong in everyday life. I mean, just look at the shirt that Shaun's wearing today. Just kidding. It's actually quite a nice one today. But things do go wrong when scuba diving. I have seen the rescue helicopter up close twice in my dive career, at least 2 heart attacks, unresponsive divers on the surface, panicked divers on the surface and underwater, and reports of missing divers. Most incidents are caused by a series of little problems that all add up to one big incident. So we're going to be looking at these with our learning cap on so that we can avoid similar incidents. Now, I have been witness to a few incidents and heard a few stories, but remember to only report your experience and don't guess and report things that you think as truth. I have been lucky enough not to have been directly involved with any serious incidents, but I've been close enough to a few. 2 big instigators are equipment malfunctions and poor judgment. Keep a level head, keep good care of your kit, and let's discuss in a positive, analytical way when scuba diving goes wrong. Equipment malfunction. I have first-hand experience of a few equipment malfunctions whilst diving, and luckily none of them have resulted in any injuries. The first one that springs to mind was myself and another diver practicing some search and recovery. Diver 2 ties a lift bag to an object to lift it, partially inflates the bag with their alternate when their primary second stage begins to free flow. Diver 2 turns to me, I donate my primary and switch to my alternate so that they can breathe, and we attempt to fix the free flow underwater. We couldn't fix the faulty second stage, so we both abort the dive and ascend to the surface, and the regulators were serviced after we got back. A similar case out in the Red Sea, I'm following a buddy pair around Shark and Yolanda from Satellite Reef when the swivel joint on Diver 2's primary slips an O-ring and it free flows. Diver 2's buddy hadn't noticed, but because I was behind them, I could see everything. Same procedure as before, I donated air, we couldn't fix it in the water, and we both ascended safely. In both of these scenarios, the equipment was fine on the boat at the beginning of the dive. So the important things to remember from equipment malfunction is to keep on top of your gear servicing and maintenance, practice your out-of-air drills, and stay calm. Stay close to your buddy too. They are your best lifeline, and catching up to them with empty lungs isn't fun. Poor judgment. So far, I don't have any first-hand experience of poor judgment incidents, but there are plenty of reports to read up on. Overhead environments and depth are the 2 most common situations that involve poor judgment. Overhead environments beckon you in, but without proper procedures and equipment, they can be literally death traps. Get turned around in a cave with no line to lead you back out, and you don't have a lot of time to find your way out. A diver I spoke to once said that he had a pair of old gloves nailed to the wall in his shed, with the fingertips worn down to nothing. They said they'd been swimming through poor visibility looking for a wreck and ended up inside the wreck, unable to see a way out. They wore their gloves down to nothing trying to feel a way out before their air ran out. They made it back to tell the story, but many others haven't. If the viz is that bad, then the dive just isn't worth it. It's just not your day, so it's time to turn around and head back up. The viz really isn't going to improve the deeper down you go. Depth is the second one. Blue holes and wall dives have plenty of divers going too deep and going missing. There's a reason your first qualification is to just 18 meters, and then 30, and then 40, and then 45. The deeper down you go, the more complicated it gets. At a certain point, even with a fully inflated BCD, you won't float and need to ditch some lead. Too many people think that if they can just swim fast enough, they can just swim down through that swim through and back up again. But the deeper down you go, the harder it is to think because of the increase in nitrogen in your system. It has a narcotic effect, and you're breathing at much faster rate than you're used to because of both pressure and the effort. So be humble, remember that little things turn into big problems. If you want to dive through that swim through, then get the proper training and you can do it safely. I'm sorry to be the one to tell you this, but you may not be that amazing that you can do it all by yourself with no training. Things to learn from this are not to go anywhere near your limits. If you are not cave qualified or have all the gear you need, don't even try. Monitor your gauges often and stay well within your depth. Marine animals. Sure, they're pretty, but some marine animals just don't like you. Most will actively swim away from you because if you put yourself in their position, they don't know what you are. You could be a predator for all they know, so it's just safer for them just to give you a wide berth and come back after you've gone. Sharks are the most obvious ones, but as you should probably know by now, that's pretty much rubbish. Sharks aren't out to get you like in Hollywood movies. If you're going to get hurt by an underwater animal, it's most likely going to be fire coral or an urchin. I've been stung by fire coral before and it sucks, and as with most other marine life incidents, it was my fault. I wasn't paying attention on a drift dive and I brushed up against some and regretted it for the next month or two. Pay attention whilst you're diving and sort out your buoyancy. Give marine life plenty of space and don't touch anything. A lot of the time, the most camouflaged things out there are the most dangerous. And stay clear of Titan triggerfish. They probably are out to get you. They are nasty. Health problems. I have been in or around the water near too many divers who have had heart problems whilst diving. If you have a heart attack at work, it's a pretty bad day for you, but there are people around you to help you get to the hospital fast. If you have a heart attack underwater, they have to get you back to the surface and out of the water, which is easier said than done. Before then, they can even call for help. You then have to get back to dry land before you can head off to the hospital. And chances are you won't just go to the nearest hospital. Because you've been diving, you'll be heading to a hospital with a chamber, and they've been closing a bunch of them down. Keep on top of your health and take it seriously. Don't just laugh it off because you feel fine right now. It's time to grow up and realize that you're not just putting yourself at risk. If something happens to you, your buddy could hurt themselves getting you back, and they may need therapy if the worst should happen. Get yourself checked out. It doesn't take long, it's not embarrassing, but it could save a life. Exceeding limits. While diving, you have to bow down to the laws of physics, biology, and chemistry. Quite a few bad things can happen to you underwater, and I'm just going to skim through a few of those quickly if you exceed limits or do things wrong. If you exceed the maximum depth of your gas mix, then the air you breathe will become toxic. Below a certain depth, around 60 something meters, normal 20-21% air will become toxic because there's simply too much oxygen, and the partial pressures become too high and it can lead to convulsions and worse. Ascending too quickly and the rapid drop of pressure will cause dissolved gases inside your tissues to come out of solution and form physical bubbles in your body where they really shouldn't be bubbles. Subcutaneous emphysema, lung overexpansion, mediastinal emphysema, pneumothorax, arterial air embolism, these are all very scary words for scuba divers, so let's keep them off your medical charts. So take your time when you're ascending. This is what your dive computer is specifically designed to prevent. You tell it what you're breathing and it will tell you how deep you can go and how long you can stay there. They also get quite upset when you ascend too fast. So the next time you see somebody ignore their dive computer or try to reset it so that they can go diving again, they're an idiot. All dive computers have a level of safety built in so that you don't even go anywhere near to your actual limits. But remember that no dive computer knows exactly what's going on inside your body. They're just guessing really, because everybody is different. So the next time you dive right up to the limit and squeeze every second out of an NDL, just remember that your computer is just a guide. And don't even get me started on SPGs. You don't end a dive until you're down well below 50 bar. Okay, sorry, but I couldn't slip too many jokes in there.
There
but
were no jokes in there, Mark.
there was the one about your shirt. But actually, this is the serious side to diving that we really all should be aware of. But I hope you never ever have to see it. If you have any stories you want to share with the class, then let us know so that we can better avoid them. Yeah, thanks for watching, guys, and safe diving. We are an online dive store serving the UK and the world for all your diving equipment needs. So why not visit us at simplyscuba.com or click the box on your screen.